Hey guys, Steve Ferguson, your modern mortgage loan advisor. Man, it's going to be a good one. This video is going to be a lot of fun. It's really going to help you guys that are struggling with a couple of things. So let's get this party started. So what we're going to talk about today is how to qualify for a mortgage loan when your credit score isn't perfect. Now, I want to be clear. I want to make sure I hit all the notes. So I've got this list over here on my other computer screen. I may be looking back and forth, but I promise you, the only reason I'm doing it is I want to make sure I hit every possible point for you guys. Now, before we get started, like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends. You've got an agent you're working with, you've got a cousin that's thinking about buying a house. Send them this video to make sure that they understand what this is all about and that we can help them get qualified for a mortgage loan when other people probably can't. So love the opportunity and let's get this party started. So let's talk point by point on this video process so we make sure we hit every possible thing. So the very first thing I want to do is define what perfect credit really is. Now, credit scoring, let's back up a little bit. There's different credit score models that exist out there, like Score 7. For lack of a better description and getting into the fine little intricate details of this, just understand that like Credit Karma and what you see on your credit report that your credit card sent to you or TransUnion or Experian or whoever that is, they're using a different score model than what a mortgage company would use. We're pulling what's called an RMCR, which is a residential mortgage credit report. And generally speaking, not always, but most of the time, when we pull your credit, we compare it to like your online credit pull systems that don't cost any money, our score is probably going to come in a little lower. That's just because we're looking at a different picture, using a different model. Don't be discouraged with that. It's just the nature of how it works. Now, we monitor with our clients these online score models all the time because once they show certain things updated on your credit, those things generally push over to our credit report and we can see those benefits as well. So just as how the system works, I wish it was different. It's not, it just is what it is. But let's define credit scoring and what's a bad score and what's a good score. So first of all, the lowest credit score you can possibly get is a 350. The highest score you can possibly get is an 850. Good credit, I mean, there's a lot of people that have different opinions of this. So some people say above a 700 score, or above a 720 credit score, or above a 680 score. In my opinion, a good credit score means that you can qualify for a mortgage loan, okay? So generally speaking, if we're looking at the majority of programs out there, that's about a 620 credit score. Now, you don't have to have a 620 credit score to get a mortgage loan. I'm just simply saying that if I was going to classify a credit score of some kind that would open up the majority of loan programs for you as good credit, that'd be a 620 credit score. Okay, so let's just start there for our baseline and move on down this road. Now, not perfect credit isn't really score based for me. It's more about what's on your credit. So for example, if you had a bunch of delinquencies, recent charge-offs, recent collections, recent missed payments, if you had a recent bankruptcy, foreclosure, those things are all considered bad credit items that are going to prevent you from getting into a mortgage or qualifying for a mortgage. So those are things that we want to avoid at all costs if we possibly can. I've worked with clients all the time that, you know, in college they went nuts with their credit was really poor, and then they didn't do anything on that credit, like they didn't pull any new credit of any way, form, or fashion. It just followed them around for 5, 6, 10 years. And then they apply for a mortgage loan and we were able to get it done, even though they didn't have a perfect score, but it had been long enough since those delinquencies. And we were able to document additional things that allowed them to get into a mortgage. So don't be discouraged if your credit scores aren't perfect. Let's look at the overall credit history and the credit picture to determine if you can get qualified. Okay, so we're going to look at it from a holistic approach. Now, let's talk about some myths here because there's a lot of myths that float around out there. You don't need a 740 credit score to get a mortgage loan. All right, like the true number, if you're talking about right now, 2025, the true minimum credit score for VA, if you're a veteran, there is no score required. Okay, don't have to have any minimum credit score. However, most lenders are going to require at least a 500 credit score for VA, and actually a lot of lenders require higher scores than that. FHA is the same thing, no minimum credit score necessarily required or no score even required. It is harder to get a mortgage loan done without a credit score, so if we can get one, that would be better. But FHA can go down to essentially a 500 score with 10% down or 580 score with 3.5% down. And when I say those down payments, it's as low as those down payments. It really depends on what's on your credit because that can modify how much money you put down, if you qualify, if you don't qualify, etc. And that's why we revert back to the very first part of this video where I was saying, let's look at it from a holistic approach and see where you stand. Okay. Now, bankruptcies, charge-offs, foreclosures, all those things, you can technically get a mortgage loan immediately with a charge-off. That's not that big of a deal. It just depends on what it is. However, if you have a bankruptcy or foreclosure, there are timeframes necessary on traditional mortgage financing that say you cannot buy a home. So generally that's speaking, that's between 2 and 4 years, depending on the type of the bankruptcy, the type of the foreclosure. And those things will sit on your credit for a period of between 7 and 10 years, depending on what it is. So even though you may have gotten past it and it's done, it's going to hang out on your credit for a while. So, and then it will eventually fall off. Now, charge-offs and collections, they can be resold to other companies. When they're resold, they re-report to your credit bureau almost all the time as a brand new charge-off or collection. And that's because these new companies are trying to collect on those debts. So it's important to handle these things as soon as you can, because they will follow you around, it feels like, forever. So just be aware of that, okay? Now let's talk about steps to improve credit or positioning yourself for approval. If we can get a clean 2-year history, which means no late payments, no charge-offs, no collections, you've got a really good shot at getting a mortgage loan, okay? From this moment, 2 years back, that's like gold standard for normal mortgage lending. There's also alternatives for this moment to 12 months back. If you're clean for the last 12 months, there's still some opportunity there. When you create problems for yourself as, hey, I just missed a payment on my credit card. I forgot that I had a balance. I forgot that I had a minimum payment. I didn't know that my payment was due at this point in time. I missed a mortgage payment. I missed a car payment. All of that can drastically impact your ability to get a mortgage loan. We don't want to go through that, right? So it's really important. Put all your stuff on auto pay. Do what you've got to do to make sure you make those payments and stay current on everything. That will be very, very important. If you get a notice in the mail that says, hey, this account's about to go into collection, hey, before that happens, get it settled. Get it taken care of. That way it doesn't go on your credit report, because once it's there, it's very hard to get removed. Okay? So, ways that we can improve credit position. All right? Number 1, pay bills on time. Number 2, if you're needing to build some additional credit, you can open what are called secured or guaranteed credit lines. A lot of the major banks out there offer this. And what they do is we'll say, hey, we'll give you a credit line, like a credit card, like a guaranteed card for $300. You give us the $300. We're going to give you this credit card. You can charge it until you eliminate the balance that we have. And we report to credit, and that will help you establish your credit. It's a great way to build credit scores. There's also some other ones that just have the $300 limit. They don't make you give them any money, but they report to the credit bureaus. If you're looking at doing something, you want to make sure that whoever you're applying with, and don't go apply with everybody, because that'll impact your scores as well. You want to make sure that they report to all 3 credit bureaus. If they just tell you, I only report to TransUnion, listen, then you're only going to have that one score. We want to get all of them if possible. So ask those questions before you apply for that, and ask a bunch of questions before you apply in general, because inquiries on your credit can damage your credit scores. Okay? Now that's a whole nother video we could talk about. Just understand, don't go pull credit everywhere. It's not a smart decision. The credit bureaus think you're going to open a bunch of credit, and that lowers your scores. Okay? So 2-year look back, you can develop credit by opening prepaid or secured cards. You can also increase your credit scores by becoming like an authorized user on a family member's credit card. All right? Now, here's the key for that. If you're going to become an authorized user or a cosigner on an item, they're going to have to add you to that account. Generally, it's a credit card. You don't want to get added to a card where it's maxed out, they've had late payments, or any of those things. It's not going to help your scores. You want somebody who's really well managed, had a card for a long period of time. The longer you have credit, generally the higher your credit scores are going to be if you maintain your credit. Those are going to benefit you and boost you and get you a higher score in a very, very short amount of time. So, and then once you've established your credit, you can get removed from that if you need to. But it's also a great way from a parental aspect. So as a parent myself, hey man, I want to make sure my kids have good credit. I can add them as an authorized user to my credit cards. It automatically gives them a credit score. When they go to buy a car, get student loans, or whatever it may be, they already have established credit because they're using mine. Credit scores are obviously established as well. They have excellent credit. They're much more likely to get credit on their own, because I don't want to co-sign for that debt. That puts me more at risk. So I want them to be able to establish their own credit using their own scores. Okay. So good stuff there, right there, right? Now, let's talk about loan programs and different things that you can use for less than perfect credit. FHA, in my opinion, is one of the better ones out there. It's really designed for first-time homebuyers. As low as 3.5% down payment with a 580 score. Below a 580, it's going to be 10% down most likely. but it's more flexible on your overall credit, profile. If you have above a 620 credit score on FHA, you can even look at down payment assistance programs. And actually, there's one that exists at a 600 score as well. And these are all subject to change. Every year, mortgage programs change, but it's important for you guys to understand is that there are solutions, even if you don't have perfect credit, okay? And if you do have perfect credit out there, but you don't have the money to put down, there's programs for that as well. So we can look at all kinds of different ways to get you guys where you want to go. So FHA, down payment assistance. There's also what are called non-QM loans or non-traditional type lenders that are a lot more flexible. They do like 1 day out of bankruptcy, 1 day out of foreclosure. They do require obviously more money down, better credit scores, those kinds of things. But there are alternative financing to traditional loan products that you can jump into and get you into a mortgage sooner than you may think. All right. So what lenders really look at besides credit score? All right. Credit score is up here, right? All right, we've got a credit score that's going to allow us to qualify for a mortgage loan. Now what? Debt to income ratio is number 2. You make $5,000 a month gross, and we always use gross income, not net, so gross. A 50% debt to income ratio is standard for most mortgage products. Not all of them, there are exceptions to every rule. But for this argument, I'm going to show you simple math. So if I make $5,000 gross, 50% of that can be allotted to debt. So that means half of my $5,000, which is $2,500, can go to debt. All right. Now, if I'm trying to buy a home and I've got a $500 car payment and a $100 credit card payment, that gets subtracted from the $2,500. All right. So $2,500 minus $600 is $1,900. Now I know that that's the max mortgage payment I can possibly afford on traditional credit would be $1,900 a month. Now, depending on your credit score, depending on your overall credit situation, you may not be able to use all that $1,900. It just depends on what you look like in regards to credit scoring and assets, etc. So the higher your credit score, the more assets and everything you have, the more likely you are to get your max qualifying amount. If your credit score is lower, then what they'll do is reduce that amount to get it in what's called just a acceptable threshold, where you're set up for success based on algorithms, and that'll still get you into a mortgage. It just may not be as much as you'd like to be able to spend. So credit scoring and everything can modify that. Just understand that there's solutions out there, and we can help you back into what that all looks like. Okay. So how do you talk to your loan officer or realtor to build a winning package? Let's talk about that for a second. So when you're talking to your loan officer, I need you to be an open book, right? I deal with clients all day long from a mortgage process. We ask them bunches of questions. And sometimes they're super honest with me and sometimes they're not. Look, be honest. Hey, you know what, Steve? I've had this. I've done this. I just checked my credit for this. I recently opened this account. You know what? I'm about 15 days late on this account. What should I do? I had a judgment against me. I did a bankruptcy, whatever. The more information you tell me as the loan officer, or you tell the loan officer that you're using, the better we can do about finding the right program that's going to fit exactly your situation. Because the last thing you want to do is get under contract on a house, you pay an option money and earnest money and inspection fees, you're writing checks, and then all of a sudden we find out on the mortgage side that you didn't tell us everything and that program doesn't work for your situation. You spent a lot of money and now you're not getting it back. Don't do that. Just be upfront, because that way we can work together to get where you want to go, right? We're on the offense together. We're a team over here. We're getting across that line. We're going to score. So just be honest. Like, let's set everybody up for success. Now, on your real estate agent side, make sure that you're honest with them as well. You don't have to tell them every little nickel and dime thing in regards to your financial situation, but tell them, hey, look, I need a payment not to exceed this. How do I get there? Where should I be buying? How is the school district? Whatever it happens to be that is important to you, that agent should be helping you partner with a great mortgage loan officer. If they don't, right, reach out to me. I'm happy to help, or do online research and find somebody that has fantastic reviews. Make sure they're not AI generated, make sure they're real, and then call and interview those people to make sure that you're getting somebody who really knows the situation that you're going through. They should give you as much time as you want on the phone. They should be patient with you, and they should be really open to explaining why things are the way that they are. Right? Think about those teachers you had like in middle school and high school and everybody else. We all had those favorite teachers. When you're young, you're like, my favorite teacher is the person who let me watch videos all the time. I didn't have to do any work. But as you get older, you start to appreciate that somebody spent time educating you and holding you accountable for that education to make sure you made great decisions and that you were a better human being for it. That's the same thing in mortgages, right? I'm going to help make sure that you're educated and you're going to know everything you need to know to make a great decision. And that's what part of this video and all my video series are about. So tell your loan officer, tell your agent all the information they need to know. Don't hide that stuff, okay? So let's talk about some mistakes to avoid that can often kill your ability to get a mortgage loan, okay? So let's say we get you qualified, you're out house shopping, you go under contract, we're halfway to the closing, and you're like, man, I really want to buy myself a new car. Your sirens and your flags in your head should be going off. That is a terrible idea. Do not do that. You're going to modify not only your credit score, you're going to modify your debt to income ratio. And guess what? Unless you want to live in that car, I don't recommend you buy it because you probably won't qualify for the house if you do that. Don't buy anything. I cannot tell you how many people have called me on a Saturday at Best Buy going, hey, Steve, a TV's on sale. Can I buy it? No, do not buy it. I don't care if it's with cash or credit or anything. Just hold true to the case, to the cause, get the mortgage done, get closed. And after you're closed, you can do anything you want. I mean, make your payments and everything. Don't overextend yourself. But you can go buy that TV or that furniture or whatever, assuming you qualify for all of it. But do not do it. Do not apply for it. I don't care if it's a special only this weekend. I don't care if it's a 0% interest. I don't care if they're giving you $500. Don't do it. You will set yourself up for failure, all right? Make sure you pay all of your current bills on time. Don't go out there and charge up a bunch of credit cards. Don't do those things. Don't deposit a bunch of cash into your account. That creates all kinds of challenges on the mortgage side of things because we can't document where the cash came from, and that can really mess up your chances as well. All you want to do when you're in the process of a mortgage or you're starting to get interested or you're in the process of searching for a home is stay consistent. Don't do anything outside the norm. Do your normal things. Keep everything the way that it's supposed to be. Pay your bills. Pay everything on time. That's what your loan officer needs to be successful when they're getting that mortgage loan taken care of for you. So don't torpedo your chances by that shiny object, okay? Not a good thing. Also, don't go out there and pull a ton of credit. Like when you're shopping around for mortgage loans or whatever it is you're having to do, yes, you can shop as much as you'd like. Technically, there's some score requirements there that won't be affected if you pull your credit for mortgages. But the more credit you pulled, it's going to come back and hit you at some point in time, and all those inquiries are going to start dropping your credit score. So the longer it takes for you to get under contract to find that home, the more likely those things are to affect you. Plus, you're going to get a lot of confusing information out there. So be selective with who you choose. Don't just shotgun it to everybody out there. And that way you're comparing apples to apples, because it's real easy in our industry to make a chicken look like a cow over here, because we can move numbers around, and that's not good. And when I say we, I'm not saying me. I'm talking about there's a lot of loan officers out there, unfortunately, that are not as diligent with the way that things should look. So make sure that you're comparing those things side by side and that you have great conversations so you know this person's numbers look higher, but that's because all those fees are right, versus this person has like none of those fees. Where are they at? They're going to show up at some point in time. So make sure you get accurate information and get all those things put together. Listen, guys, I really hope this video has helped you. I don't want to keep you any longer than we need to, but this should make you dangerous as we're moving forward and you're establishing your process and you're getting ready to buy a home or you're concerned about things. That's what this is all about. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all those great things. Hope you have an awesome day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.